This conference will now be recorded.
Goes. So Sarah and Joe, so have any of us ever connected before?
No, I went to one of your lives, I don't know, last week or the week before maybe, but I mean,
Okay,
didn't
cool.
connect, but
Okay. So that's cool. So I love when we have people who like this is their first time. And so what I like to explain is every psychic, every medium, we all sort of have our own way of doing things. And so for me, I really like to think of myself more as just the translator for spirit. So whatever comes through, I will never filter anything. It is not up to me to decide what you get, what you don't get. If you have someone on the other side who like cussed like a sailor, that could come through. So I really try to bring through like their personality, because it's my goal that whatever you need to serve your highest good and give you that guidance or reassurance or whatever spirit's like, this is what they need today, that's exactly what we get. Um, and so I can never make any guarantees because spirit does what spirit wants to do. But if you're hoping to hear from someone, 9 times out of 10, that person will come through. And if you have questions for them, you can ask as we go. With mediumship, it's really like a 3-point connection. So it's spirit, me, and you. And so that energy just sort of cycles through. And so I'm always like, talk to your loved ones, ask questions, and we will get whatever we can get. But do you guys have any questions about anything like before we just sort of dive into everything?
don't have any questions?
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
Okay. Okay. If you think of any at any point, chime in. So since I do have both of you, are you guys looking to connect with the same person or people, or do you have different people?
Probably mostly the same.
Mostly the same? Okay.
Right?
Do you have anybody that I don't know?
I mean, no, I don't know if someone in my family would come through, but my family's always pretty quiet, so.
Okay, the only reason I ask is because when we have more than one person in a session, I like to give you the option. We can either like split the time right down the middle and like I'll focus on Sarah and then I'll focus on Joe, or we can just kind of do it together and let spirit come in and just kind of
Yeah, we could
spread the
just,
time
yeah,
out.
Together, fine.
yeah, together's fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So are we wanting to do just mediumship or psychic or
I think he just wanted mediumship, but I wanted a little bit of psychic
okay.
and like, you know, our lives and kids and
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So I like to start with mediumship just because your loved ones are usually like, I need to come through, I need to come through. And so it's easier to kind of talk to them first and then dive into the psychic part. So I'm going to take a second and just sort of like welcome them in, get in that space. When they come through, they're going to give us information about themselves, information about you, other family members, because I don't know you guys on a personal level, whatever they give me won't make sense to me. So really the only thing I will try to ask you is, do you understand this? Does that make sense? If it doesn't, let me know and we'll try to get them to give us some more information to make sense of whatever they're giving.
okay.
Okay, so I've got my notebook. I like to scribble. So if you see me scribbling, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so you guys actually have quite a few people standing around here, but there's somebody in spirit that keeps giving me a name, and I don't think it's spirit's name. I think it's somebody that maybe you are connected to in this lifetime, or they were connected to in this lifetime. So I just have to say the name. Let me know if you understand it all. But do you have like a Sophie or a Sophia somewhere with you?
No.
No? Okay. I'm going to jot that name down because it could make sense as we go, but I just keep hearing something like Sophie, Sophia, and it's like a woman in spirit that's giving me the name, but I know it's not hers, so I don't know where that makes sense. Um, okay, so I want to start off with this gentleman in spirit because you have all these people standing around, but there's this gentleman over here, and he's like, I can audibly hear him like laughing out loud at what we're doing right now. So I think right off the bat, it's really safe to say like he would have thought this is a bunch of hocus pocus. He would have been like, "What the hell are you doing? Like this isn't real." And I get a very strong like fatherly energy from him. Um, Do either one of you have a dad in spirit? Because I keep hearing I'm dad, I'm dad. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so he has this great personality, and I'm like, can you tell me about yourself? But I can't get past his personality. He's just like, he's funny, he's warm. I feel like he was very down to earth. He also, and I mean this in the best way, sort of has like a childlike mentality. So I feel like he was like really good at kind of playing with the kids, getting on the kids' levels, you know, and just like really engaging. Okay. I'm getting I can't make out his name, but he is showing me my sign for a name connection, which generally means he shares a name with someone else in the family. Does that make sense?
Yeah, my dad passed. We have the same name. I'm
Oh,
the
perfect.
third.
Okay. Okay. With his passing, it's interesting because I'm asking him how he passed, and what's kind of coming through is he makes me feel that there were health issues that, you know, we could see his health declining, but the passing itself feels like it kind of came on unexpectedly. Does that make sense? Like things just really happened. Like we were like, we knew he wasn't well, but we weren't expecting this. Um, and he acknowledges this because the way that he's explaining this to me is he wasn't being secretive. He wasn't keeping things from the family, but he makes me feel like he wasn't one to really share a whole lot. You kind of had to like pry it out of him. You know, you could be like, Dad, how are you doing today? He'd be like, oh, no, I'm fine. And he wasn't. It was just he didn't ever want to kind of burden anyone else with that worry. And so, not necessarily that he was secretive about things, but he does want to acknowledge he probably could have shared and been a little bit more open than he was with the family. And so for that, he just kind of wants to acknowledge it and apologize. Um, I'm very drawn to his chest when I ask him about his passing. I don't necessarily get the feeling of like lung cancer, but I feel like I'm having a hard time catching my breath. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Yeah, he did have lung cancer.
Oh, he did.
Um,
Okay,
yeah,
But that's not how he passed. He.
right. And yeah,
that makes sense.
but it was
Okay.
he passed away 2 weeks after starting treatment, so it was
Yeah.
very quick.
Okay, yeah, very fast. Yeah, because the way he's giving this to me is like I can feel like I can't quite catch my breath, but the passing itself, he actually makes me feel from his perspective was very peaceful. It sort of feels like he just sort of drifted into sleep and never woke up. It's that sort of like peaceful feeling of I just kind of closed my eyes and then I just was drifting. But he gets this huge smile on his face because he keeps telling me that the reason he was able to go so quickly and so peacefully is because of this woman who was there for him in spirit. Um, she might end up coming through here too, because as soon as I acknowledge her, I can feel her like sort of step into this space. But would he have a spouse who was already in spirit before he passed? Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
So because I mean, when I say he's like grinning ear to ear, like he has a smile that takes up his whole face and he's like, this is why I was able to pass when I did. This is why I was able to let go so quickly because she was there waiting for him. And as soon as he saw her, he makes me feel like he just knew it's my time and I'm okay. And I really feel like these two, I connect with a lot of, couples on the other side and it's not all the time that those couples feel like they were each other's person. And that's how they feel like they were a match made in heaven. There is a lot of playfulness that I feel between them. So I don't know if they would always like tease and like, I always like to call it like the marital banter, but it's like always out of love. I can like feel that with them. Um,
Yeah.
okay. And he wants you guys to know, he says, I'm not upset about my passing. He's very much at peace with it. And even though he does make me feel like you were able to be with him, would you understand him talking about not fully being able to say goodbye to him in the way that you wanted to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He wants to
Yeah,
bring this up. I'm sorry.
he was.
He wants, go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, again.
He wants to bring this up because he keeps saying, especially with you, Joe, he really makes me feel like you hold on to sort of this guilt of, did I tell him I loved him enough? Did he hear what I had to say? Does he know how much he means to me? And your dad is like, I know. And he wants to make sure that you know that for you as well, that he's proud of you and he hears you and he sees you and he loves you. And Sarah, even though this is Joe's dad, it's the same message for you. Like, I don't feel like there's any sort of like, this is my daughter-in-law. It's like, no, this is my daughter. And he has that same love and that same pride for you, but he wants you both to really understand there are no words left unsaid. He heard it all. He hears it all, even still, when you think about him, when you talk about him. And he's doing everything he can to try to send those messages and send that love back to you. What? Okay, I don't know what this means, so I'm just going to show it to you or tell it to you. He showed me, as soon as he said that, he showed me like it almost looks like maybe like a record, or it could be a CD, but it's like, I can tell it's music and I can see like this round disc. And so I feel like he's communicating with you a lot through music, but I don't feel like your dad was like a big dancer. But I do see him sort of like doing a shimmy, like some sort of like shimmy, some sort of little shake or like two-step, and like it's some sort of like, you could tell he's not a dancer, but he's trying. But he's like having a good time with this music. I don't know if he was a big music guy, or you connect with music a lot with him.
No, I mean he enjoyed music. I do have his whole record collection. But no, he wasn't. I've never seen him dance, so he wasn't a
Okay,
dancer.
okay. I
I
love.
can see him shaking his head. Like that's what I see.
Yeah, it's like you could tell he doesn't dance. Like there's no rhythm, but you can see he's like trying. Okay, so you have his record collection. That's amazing. That makes sense why he showed me the record. Okay. What does the number 47 mean in connection to your dad? I don't, I feel like he was
He was
older than
born.
40.
He was born in 47.
Oh, okay, because he's showing this to me. I'm like, I feel like you were older than 47. Okay, he was born in 47. Pay attention, because I do feel like he's going to be sending you, or already does send you, his birth date a lot. So if you see his birthday, just like, you look at the clock or you look at a license plate, you look at your receipt, when you see the numbers from his birthday, that's no coincidence. Those are little ways that he's trying to let you know that he's there.
Yeah, I see those numbers all the time.
Do you? Okay. Yep, that is definitely him. Um, So he's not going anywhere. He's right here, but I have to acknowledge his wife. So would this be your mom?
Hmm.
Okay. Dad is not going anywhere, but, and maybe this is true to mom's personality, I feel like she's walking in and she's going, okay, you've had your turn. And she's like just kind of gently shoving him out of the way so she can come forward. I keep hearing again some name where I don't know where this makes sense, but it sounds like she's saying Ollie or Oliver or something like that. Would that name mean anything?
We have a son named Oliver.
Perfect. Okay. I feel like she knew him though, because she makes me feel like she did know him. Um,
He was 2 when she passed away.
okay. Okay. So that
Which,
makes sense, because it really feels like she's trying to acknowledge that she has a relationship with him. And I don't know if you guys have other children. She makes me feel like you do. But I don't know if he might be the youngest, but she's like, I have this relationship with him. I know him. I watch over him. And I feel like she's just trying to make sure that you guys know any children that she really got a chance to be with here in the physical world, and those that maybe she didn't get to spend as much time with, she still has that really strong, beautiful relationship with all of them. Does that make sense? Oh, did I lose you guys? I don't know if you can see or hear me, but you're frozen on my end. Mm.
Do you want to walk in the house so we can...
Oh, I think I can see you.
Sorry, are you there?
Yeah.
I think we lost you for a minute. We're going to try to go in our house. Maybe the connection's better.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, we were trying to stay in the car so we didn't hear. We have 4 kids, so we didn't. All right. We're inside now. Sorry.
That's okay.
Are you coming in?
Oh.
It's okay. You can stay. Yeah. All right.
Sorry.
Okay, so I think we heard something about her and Oliver.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know where we kind of left off, but what she was showing me is that she really wanted to make sure that you guys know that with all of the children, that she has that same beautiful relationship with them, regardless of how much time she got to spend with them physically. Does that make sense? Okay. She is, her personality, like she is extremely sweet, but there is also like this sassiness to her. There's this strong-willed sort of stubbornness with her. And she, I have to be honest, she comes in like unapologetically herself. Like she is like, what you see is what you get. But I can tell with her, her family truly was her top priority. And okay. What? Okay. As soon as I said that, Sarah, I heard her go that you're the daughter she never had. Does she not have any daughters of like biological daughters?
He's the only child.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cause she's like, tell Sarah she's the daughter I never had. And again, same thing with your dad is like, there's this feeling of it doesn't matter if you're not biologically mine or not, like you are mine and I am yours. And that is that. And Joe, she has this immense amount of pride in you. Um, and she's really showing me like a mirror, like you and her as like a mirror image. Do you look a lot like your mom?
Yes.
Okay. She
Yeah.
she adores that. And she's your mom is really funny because I hear her going, "Thank God he doesn't look like his dad." And I'm like, "Well, that's not nice." And she's like chuckling about it. And so she just wants to acknowledge that like when you look at the mirror, know that in a way she is looking back at you. Um, Her passing really does come across as unexpected. Does that make sense? Because she makes me, the way that she's sort of giving this to me is she's like, I felt fine. I felt like I was okay. And then she kind of snaps her finger. She's like, and then I wasn't. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily getting like blood clot, but she is showing me Um, I don't know how to explain this. There's some, like I can feel this pressure sort of in my head. And then I do feel like some sort of like blockage or something stopping. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah. She had open heart surgery, and then about 2 weeks later, she had a heart attack
Okay, that
while she was
makes
in.
sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah, because there's just like this bit of pressure in my head, but then she kept kind of like doing this with me, and I just kind of felt like something just stopped. So that must be her way of talking about the heart attack. She's very honest with this. Is she keeps saying, she goes, and again, I never want to filter anything. So the way that she's explaining this to me is she says we all have our time, and it's going to happen one way or another to all of us. And she has a lot of gratitude in a way for the fact that it did happen so quickly. She makes me feel like she's thankful that she didn't have to suffer, that we didn't have to witness her health steadily declining. Okay. And she was also greeted by a lot of family in the spirit world. Like I see like it's like a whole crowd just kind of steps forward for her. Did she? I have no idea what kind of dog this is, but she's picking up a dog in spirit, and it's like, I have no idea what kind this is. It looks like a smaller dog, but I see it with like a long neck and sort of like a tiny head. Um, I have no idea what sort of dog. I'm like, is it a mutt? Because I can't make out what sort of dog this is at all. But I'm definitely seeing a longer head, like a longer neck and a tiny head, and it looks like um, maybe like a light brown or even like a grayish kind of color. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
We had a Italian Greyhound, so long neck, thin coat.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Okay. I love that. And because she just like picks up this dog, and so she just wants to acknowledge that the dog is with her and that the dog is also around you guys. Um, and then I feel I don't know if dad was like not a dog person, but as soon as I acknowledge the dog, your dad over here is like, yeah, the dog's here too. Um, okay.
yeah.
They loved him. Yeah, I can see him doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just kind of like, ah, yep, over here. Here we go. Um, okay. And then was your mom's name Lynn?
No.
No. I keep
Um,
She keeps telling me Lynn, but I don't know where that makes sense. Okay.
can't think of a Lynn or.
That's okay. I wouldn't overthink it. For me, names are one of those things where when spirit gives it to me, it either makes sense immediately or we have no idea what they're talking about. So I'm always like, don't worry about names. Maybe they'll make sense. Maybe they won't. It's okay. Um, okay. She's really prideful in the way that she lived her life. She makes me feel like she did the best that she could, and she acknowledges that they didn't always get it right. But she's like, we were able to provide the type of life for our son that we wanted to. And I feel like she always really went above and beyond to make the simplest of things magical, like the holidays and just like normal, ordinary events. Like she would find a way to make it memorable. Um, and was she keeps she keeps showing me like this house, and I just see it with like it's not cluttered, but there are a lot of knickknacks that I'm seeing. Does that make sense for her? Like I wouldn't say she's hoarding, but she has a beautiful collection of all things. Um, and then I'm also seeing it's almost like she's like taking me and sitting me in some room. Because as I look over here to one side, it's like I can also see like lacy curtains. Did she have lace curtains at all?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so she literally like has just picked me up and placed me inside of somewhere in her house. I don't even know what room I'm in, but I can just see like certain parts of this. And so I feel like she's just wanting to talk about her home and this house that they built together with you guys and the memories that took place here. She does want to talk about Christmas decorations. And are you like hoarding all of her Christmas decorations? Do you still have all of them?
No, my dad actually threw them all away after she passed away because he was so upset.
He was one of those, he like went all out. I mean, his like they had a
He won the
duplex and yeah, the house was just covered. Every square inch of the yard, I mean, everything. And then after she passed, then
he didn't decorate
he didn't
anymore.
decorate anymore.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense why she's bringing it up because and that's what I was going to say is like she makes me feel like there are a ton of these Christmas decorations. And so again, just like her validating the fact that she loved making things magical, but then I guess also validating that she knows what happened with the decorations. And the thing with Spirit is they don't have any hold on the materialistic items, right? They don't matter anymore, but acknowledging them is important. Okay. She wants to really thank you both because after she passed, she makes me feel like you stepped in for your dad in a way that went above and beyond. And dad is chiming in here and he makes me feel like he was always very appreciative, but he didn't always express that appreciation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So your mom is like, I'm super proud of you. Thank you for doing that. And then dad is just kind of taking some accountability for not always, showing the appreciation that maybe he could have or should have. But know that that appreciation, that gratitude is 1,000% there. Okay. Would you understand? I can't even tell which one of them is showing this to me because they're kind of coming in together with this. Would you understand why I keep seeing like a wall with trophies on it?
They kept all my baseball trophies growing up,
Oh,
so they were all at the house, and yeah, baseball, karate,
Yeah.
basketball.
okay. I love that and that makes sense why they both gave that to me. So again, just like showing pride and like we're proud of you and who you are and those memories that were created while you were earning those trophies. Okay. So how your dad was talking about he likes to communicate with you both a lot through music. Your mom is showing me that she likes to use nature as a way to really make sure that you guys know that she's there. So if you see cardinals or birds or butterflies or things like that, when you see it, when your mind goes directly to her, just trust and know that that is because she has placed that in your path. And she's throwing her arm out here and she's pulling someone else into this mix. Sarah, I'm kind of drawn to you more so. So I'm wondering if this is someone from your side of the family. So this is a woman that is coming in here, an older woman. So I know that this is not her name, but again, sometimes they just throw names at me. I keep hearing the name Phil or Philip or something like that. Do you have a Philip that you're connected to?
Here in the physical world, not past. Yeah. I have a uncle and a cousin named Philip, and my dad's middle name is Philip also.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, because I was asking this woman as she's coming in, like, how are you connected or where do you connect? And she gave me the name Philip. So whatever side your Phillips are on, this must be the side that she is connected to. That's what I'm guessing here. Okay. So to me, this feels like a grandmother, or at least like a grandmother-like energy for you. I feel like she passed older in life. Like she really makes me feel like she lived a long life. She's like and she's very sweet, but she's funny too because she's like, I lived way longer than most people ever should, and she's just like, I'm totally okay with where I am. Okay. I again with these names, I don't know if it's going to make sense, but I keep hearing Mary. Would you have a Mary?
Her name's Mary. Yeah, my grandmother. Uh-huh.
Your grandmother's name is okay. Your grandmother's name is Mary. Woo! Yay. Okay. Thank you. um, okay. She's very, I want to say she's very cute. Like she just has this soft but sassy sort of energy. Like I feel like you never really knew what you were getting when you walked into a room. She was either going to be very nurturing, like, "Hi, I'm so happy," or she would be like, "Oh, what are you doing with your hair today?" Or it was like one or the other. She was either going to be very blunt or very, very nurturing, but there is always just like this love that comes forward with her. Okay. I do get reference to the month of December. Do you know if December could make sense for her?
Her birthday is in December.
Okay, perfect. She's she's another one that is sort of chuckling at what we're doing today, and I feel like she would have been a bit more open-minded than Joe, your dad, but she still feels like she would have been very skeptical. Would not have walked into a situation like this willingly. She's actually showing me a Bible, so I'm assuming she was very religious and strong in her own faith. But she's happy that you guys are open to this because she's like, this gives me a chance to come through and talk in a way I haven't talked to my family yet. Okay. And I see her, I ask her about her passing, and she just shows me like surrounded by family. And I see family in the physical, but then it even goes beyond that. And she shows me like all of this family in spirit. Like the room that she's in when she passes away is filled with love from both here in the physical world and in the spiritual world. And there's a younger girl that she makes me feel was one of the main people to step forward and greet her in spirit. I don't know who that young girl could be, but I just feel this younger female energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she has yeah, my cousin passed away in a fire. Yeah, it's probably her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could probably be who it is then. I don't feel her stepping forward, but your grandmother just acknowledging that she was one of those main people to really step forward for her. And she feels like I ask her if she can if she wants to tell me about her passing, and she honestly kind of like brushes me off. And so I think that is her sassy side of like, I'm going to do this my way. But sometimes they don't really want to talk about their passing when they feel like it was their time. It was just natural causes. They're like, my family understands this. I understand this. We don't need to talk about it. But leading up to her passing, she makes me feel like she was pretty independent, especially for her age, but she wants to thank the family because she does acknowledge that there was a level of caretaking and assistance, and she's very grateful for that. And she keeps saying, she goes, it hurt my pride more than it hurt anything else. And I think that's because she does feel like she was just wildly independent. And so not being able to fully care for herself or do things on her own was difficult for her. She keeps doing this and telling me like she has a huge family, like she's just kind of like scooping everyone in and pulling them in. Do you know if she wore clip-on earrings?
I don't know. I'd have to ask my parents. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, because she's doing this, and typically when spirit does that, it's their way of showing me they would have wore like clip-ons. So ask, see if that makes sense. Yeah, there's something about the earrings that she's talking about. I love her too, because the way that she's giving this to me is she's like touching her hair and just kind of making sure everything's in place. And spirit can really choose how they want to present themselves on the other side. So I don't know how old she was when she passed, but let's say she was like 90. She could come through as a 50-year-old if she chooses to. And she does look older, but to me, she really doesn't look like she'd be a day over 70. Like she is just like fixing her hair. She's like smoothing out her skin. I feel like she was someone who really took a lot of pride in her appearance too. You know, you do not leave the house in pajama pants. You are always dressed, even if you're not going anywhere, that sort of thing. And I don't necessarily even get the feeling that she would have ever worked outside of the home. She makes me feel like she was very content taking care of her family and sort of like being the homemaker. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep. She had 9 kids and yep.
Okay. Yep. I guess someone would have to be home with that many kids. Okay. Um, okay. And she's so happy for the two of you. She's cute. She keeps saying that you are a match made in heaven, and I can see her just sort of like pushing you two together. Um, and Joe, I don't know what your relationship was like with her, but did you guys like kind of like pick on each other a lot? But like she makes me feel like there's this teasing sort of going back and forth. Does that make sense?
No, I didn't really have a relationship with her.
I barely had a relationship with her. We didn't.
Okay.
She lived pretty far away, and
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if maybe this is just kind of her personality, if there was like a teasing sort of thing that she would do. But the way that she
My grandfather always teased. He would tease everybody.
really, okay. So it could be that this could be her way of acknowledging him. I don't feel him stepping forward, but I can promise he's in this crowd that is around us. Okay. Who's Pamela?
My mom.
That's your mom. Okay. Is this grandma connected to you through your mom, or is this your dad's mom?
It's my dad's mom, but I mean, my mom's mom is also passed.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let me see. No, this is still your dad's mom, but okay, she must want to talk about your mom. What is it? Let's see. I feel like she's trying to encourage your mom to get out of her comfort zone. I don't know if your mom has been talking about maybe taking a trip, or that, in an ideal world, she'd like to do a little bit of traveling, but your grandmother keeps showing me a suitcase with your mom. And so if she's been thinking about a trip, if she's been talking about one, this could be grandma's way of trying to encourage her, like, don't talk yourself out of it. Allow yourself to take a trip of some sort. Okay. Oh. You guys have so many people over here. I'm trying to like listen to one at a time, and I can just hear, if you try to imagine like a party on the other side of the wall, like you can hear what's going on, but you can't make anything out. That's sort of what's going on right now. Like this is, you guys got to figure this out one at a time.
Like they talk over each other.
Okay.
Dad's side.
Oh, okay. Joe, your dad just stepped back in. Okay. Would you understand, now I don't know any of the details here, so just let me know if you understand this. But would you understand him? He's wanting to apologize for everything that sort of fell on your shoulders after he passed, because he does make me feel like he had things in place, but it wasn't, it wasn't exactly super organized, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not exactly.
For that. And he's kind of chuckling about it. He's like, I did the best I could, but, and he just kind of like shrugs it off. Like there's no words, but he wants to apologize for just that unnecessary stress that you had to deal with. And he wants to take a little bit of accountability there. But again, to really let you both know that he sees everything you've done. He's very proud of you. And I don't know how long he's been gone, but he makes me feel like there's still like things that you're still sort of going through, or things that you're still trying to sort of close up. Does that make sense?
I just finished his estate.
Okay.
I just deposited the last check into the estate account today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I love that he's acknowledging this then. Like, you know, I see that you're still working on it. Like, and again, just that pride and wanting to acknowledge what it is that you guys are doing. Okay. Huh. Okay. So, Sarah, I know you wanted to ask some things psychically, but I feel like maybe this is Joe's mom sort of pushing us into that because she's sort of like, I want to talk about some things going on in their lives. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't necessarily feel like you guys are trying to have more kids, but have you had a conversation about this recently?
I mean, we joke about it once in a while, but
Okay.
And we,
no,
we say no.
yeah, no,
Okay, because she's telling me, like, she's over here going like, are there more grandbabies? And I'm like, I don't know. Are there more grandbabies? Because I'm getting the feeling that like energetically, I don't feel like you want them, but she's like, kind of like, if you want more, I'll bring them to you. Like, I feel like she's very much like, if you want them, I'll make it happen. So if you joke about it, I think maybe this is her way of saying like she's in on those jokes, like she's part of that. But okay. So you said you had 4 kids. So I don't know which one she's talking about, but I feel like she's talking about one of your older kids. Because she's showing me sort of like this child in this phase of life where it's very transitional for them. Like they're sort of going from little kid to more, I don't know if it would be like preteen or teen, but it's sort of like moving into that chapter of more independence. And again, I want to be honest, she is over here chuckling at the fact that this is starting to become a difficult transition. So I don't know if emotions have been high or they've just kind of been acting differently than they used to, but she doesn't make me feel like there's anything alarming. It is just normal growing pains, we'll put it that way. But with this child, she really wants to encourage that we sort of prioritize them having some sort of creative outlet. So whether that's they like to paint or draw, they like music, they like to dance or anything like that, something where they can sort of get that creative mind, get those creative juices flowing. She makes me feel like that will really help them to always sort of come back to themselves and come back to their center and help them to sort of not follow the crowd, to kind of, you know, maybe follow a little bit, but then come back and always sort of have that safe place to come back to where they feel connected to themselves. Does that make sense? Okay. Are any of your children like gymnasts? I keep seeing like a leotard.
I mean, they all did gymnastics at one point, but
Yeah.
none of them are.
None of them are currently in
Yeah.
gymnastics.
Okay, that makes sense. So maybe she's just like
Little.
on,
Yeah.
on her gymnastics. Okay. I'm like, why am I seeing a kid in a leotard? Okay. With where you're at in your life right now, would you understand, Mom? The way that she's explaining this to me for you guys is, I keep hearing her say, don't bite off more than you can chew. And she makes me feel like you're sort of stressing or overthinking way too many things at once, which sort of puts you in this space of like, I don't want to say paralyzed fear, but you know, when you get overwhelmed and you're like, rather than doing anything, I'm just going to do nothing because I don't know how to function. She makes me feel like that's sort of like an energy space that you've been falling into frequently in like recently. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Whatever it is that's going on, she's like, take a step back, pick and choose what we're going to stress about this day, and the rest can wait till tomorrow. But but she's definitely there to try to guide you all through whatever it is that's going on, and she's there to give her support. And you guys have all these other loved ones, but I do have to be very honest. Mom over here is probably the loudest one out of the group, and she is the one to make herself known in your lives more than the others. So if you feel like everywhere you look, like you're reminded of her, songs come on, things you see, things you smell, like your mind is just constantly thinking of her, that's because she's really trying to make her presence known. But she does. She just wants to encourage you to sort of like take a step back, be intentional with your time, and know that you don't and can't figure everything out at once. It really has to be, let's pick what we're going to focus on today, and tomorrow we'll pick something else, and we'll just sort of take it one step at a time. But I feel with all of these people over here, I mean, they are just like love bombing you. Like I see like just these images of like them throwing hearts at you and wanting to just give you their love and give you their guidance. Does the number 13 mean anything for you guys? Because as I talk about you.
No, we have a 13-year-old son.
Yeah.
Okay. Because as I was talking about you guys, I kept hearing 13, 13, 13. Maybe it's about your son. Let me see. Okay. I feel like he's a really good kid. Like they really make me feel like he's a really good kid. But it does feel like he tends to forget sometimes that he's a kid and maybe tries to take on a bit more than he should, or worries about things that are not necessarily his problem. Very old soul is sort of the feeling I'm getting. And it feels like it's important to remind him sometimes that we've got this, you're the kid, like go have fun. You don't have to constantly worry if we're okay. You don't have to constantly worry about your siblings or anything like that. Like go be a kid, and it's okay to just let us handle it. But he feels very empathetic, almost like a sponge. Like he can just absorb the emotions in a room, and is very compassionate. And that's a gift, but it can also be a curse if we don't sort of wring that sponge out every once in a while. So reminding him that he is a child and he doesn't have to worry about everyone and everything, I think will help him to sort of find that balance that he needs. Okay. And so, yeah, so they're all over here just like throwing their love at you, wanting you to know that they're there. So I want to use this time to sort of open it up to any questions that you guys might have, either for them or for me or about anything.
You have any questions?
I can't think of anything.
Do you see us moving anytime?
It's funny because I almost had a feeling you were going to ask that, because Spirit was showing me moving boxes, but they weren't clear. So I was like, we'll wait and see if it comes up. Okay, let me see. Was there actually already a plan to move, or did you try to move and it didn't work out? Does that make sense?
We put an offer on the house, but it wasn't accepted.
Okay, yeah, because that's kind of something that Spirit was showing me, is like there were steps in the right direction, but now we're sort of like back at square one. I do see you moving. I don't feel like it's going to be right now, but I do feel like either the move is going to happen later this year, or things are going to start moving in that direction later this year. I'm really getting reference to the month of October for you guys. But I do see it. I absolutely would say it's going to happen within the next 2 years. But I think October, if it's not when the move actually happens, then October, I think, will be a very pivotal point where you guys start moving in that direction. Yeah. Yeah. And I would actually, I don't know exactly where you guys are, but I would be open to the unexpected when it comes to location. I don't know where you're looking, but Spirit is kind of making me feel like you may end up north from wherever you currently are. Well, I'm like over here, like raising the roof. North from like wherever you guys currently are. But it feels like that may not be the direction you're initially thinking. So Spirit just keeps saying like, be open to the unexpected. Yeah. Also, hold on to the number 33. I think that's going to make sense somewhere along your journey when it comes to your move. So it could be an address, it could be a phone number, it could be something that pops up on any of the legal paperwork, but there's something about the 33 that they're showing me too as like a sign of alignment.
Okay.
So, good. You have any other questions, thoughts?
About the company.
Yeah, you can ask about the company.
I don't know what that's.
Work-wise, if you see anything with, yeah, just in our jobs,
Yeah.
business,
Okay.
yeah.
Your mom is in my ear. Okay. So, and it's funny because typically when I try to do like the psychic part of the reading, I tap into your energy, but when your loved ones are here, they tend to kind of take over that. So it's interesting the way this is coming in, and I hope that this makes sense to you, because what they're showing me right away is I don't feel like you guys are going to up and quit your jobs, but they're actually showing me some sort of like, it almost feels like a partnership between the two of you. Have you talked at all about like either starting a business together or like doing something where that partnership together would make sense?
I mean, we work together now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, that makes sense because that's what they're showing me is like there's some, like I ask about work and then they just kind of merge you guys together. Okay. Oh my goodness. I love your people on the other side. I really have no idea why, and I don't know who is over here saying this, but I keep hearing someone over here like they're just yelling like yeehaw and they're like having a good time, but I feel like they're excited about the direction that you guys are moving in. And I'm like, I don't know who is saying that or where that's coming from. So when it comes to work, you know, I don't know all the details, but the way that this feels is I actually sort of feel like with Joe, there for you, they're sort of showing me like my sign for when we like move up. Like there's a promotion or there's a job change where there's more money. Like there's something where like we're moving up, and that feels really positive. And I feel like that's going to happen for you. Like you'll probably start to see the path to that very soon if you're not already. But I actually see that more so taking place in I would say roughly about 6 months is kind of like the timeline they're giving me for that. And it feels like something that maybe you've either been thinking about or you've been wanting, but it's going to happen in a more unexpected way. So whatever it is that you're like working towards, that particular thing may not work out, but something even better will, but you're like on the right path. And Sarah, for you, they're actually showing me something completely different. They're showing me like you sort of taking a step back and going in a different direction. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that is that you're thinking about doing, they make me feel like there's hesitance there. And I feel like that is where Spirit is like, yeehaw, like I don't know why we're yeehawing, but whatever is going on, try to let go of that hesitance because that's a good move for you. Like whatever it is that you're wanting to like do instead is going to bring a lot of fulfillment for you. It's going to bring a lot of fulfillment for the family. And they're also showing me it's going to give you more of that work home balance that you're kind of striving for. Does that make sense?
Sort of. I mean, I'm kind of like, I feel like I have the work home balance now, which is why I feel like I'm stuck and I don't know where to go from there. I feel like
Okay.
I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. So I keep asking for guidance on what am I supposed to be doing. I mean, I love helping him with his job, but I know that's not what I'm meant to be, but I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be
Okay.
doing.
So I keep, okay, sorry. I just heard Spirit say like, we can't give you all the answers because, and the reason for that makes me feel like there's internal work for you to do to unlock the answers. But I will say this, I feel like whatever direction you're going in, they make me feel like it is going to end up being something where you are using your talents, like your natural talents, your natural interests to provide a service to other people. I don't necessarily know that this is what it's going to be. I think this is just an example of what they're showing me because what I keep seeing is, you know how like some people will start like businesses to help other people organize their homes because they just love organization. Like that's sort of what they're showing me for you. And so if you're like, no, I don't like to organize, then it's probably not that. But it's sort of like that sort of thing of like whatever it is that you're really passionate about and that you're like, oh yeah, it just makes me happy. It comes easy, it comes natural to me, that you're going to end up finding a way to turn that into some sort of service to help other people. And I really think that you're probably going to get a lot of traction on that as you get closer to the end of the year. Late November into mid-December specifically, which sounds crazy because that's the holidays, but I really feel like there's going to be something during that time that just sort of like catapults you in that direction. So for now, I would pay a lot of attention to what does bring you joy and what, you know, you just find fulfilling in like normal everyday things because it feels like it's sort of one of those things, it's sitting right in front of your face, but because it's natural for you, you don't look at it as anything other than life. You're like, oh, that's not a talent or that's not anything people would like. But then once you identify what that is, there's going to be so many people that are like, oh my gosh, I struggle with that so much. I don't understand how you do this. Like, please do this for me or please help me with this. Does that make sense? Yeah, because it really does. It feels like it's kind of just sitting right there and you just have to sort of follow those little breadcrumbs of joy to figure out what that's going to be for you. Yeah. But yeah, I think you guys are moving in a good direction. I think this year is going to be an exciting year for you. It sounds like there's a lot going on with both of you for work, but then also with the home life and with the kids. And then all of these beautiful people you guys have over here, like they are full of personality and full of love. And I think they did a great job with coming through with like unique validations and just making sure you knew who they are and that they are here and that they spend every day with you. So remember with spirit, there's no such thing as coincidence. If you think of them, if you see something that reminds you of them, if you hear a song that reminds you of them, even if just a random memory pops into your head, that is all very subtle ways that they'll try to get your attention just to reassure you that they're there.
Just one more question. What about dreams? Like,
Mhm.
I guess I've always like I want to dream about my parents, but it's been like very few.
Yep.
Is that something that happens normally, or you know?
Yeah, so dreams, when you dream of a loved one who's in spirit, that is always a visitation. It doesn't matter what the dream is. Sometimes our own grief or our own ego can sort of distort the dream and sometimes make it scary or something, but that's just the ego. Your loved one showing up in your dreams is always a way that they're trying to let you know that they're there because when we sleep, our minds are very quiet and so they're not distracted by the world. And so we're more like in that meditative state where it makes it much easier for spirit to come in. They tend to pick and choose when they're going to come through in dreams. And sometimes we'll see where they come through more frequently right after they passed. And then as time goes on, those dreams start to sort of like slow down. And it's not because they've gone anywhere, but what spirit likes to do is they'll sort of back off to a certain degree to give us the space that we need to heal and to give us the space that we need to sort of figure out how to do life without that constant interaction with them. But they're still there. So you can ask them, you can keep saying like, okay, it's been a while, like come to me in a dream and just keep asking, keep being persistent and eventually they will. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good. All right, well, how do you guys feel?
Good.
Feel okay?
Yeah, yes, thank you.
Good. You're welcome. Thank you for your patience and allowing me to reschedule. I'm sorry that was such a headache. But I think you guys got beautiful messages today, and hopefully they really just did give you whatever it was that you were needing to give you a bit of peace.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so I will work on your recording, and then I'll give that to you within the next day or so. I'll just send it to your emails. And if you have any questions about it, just reach out and let me know. All
Okay, thank you.
right, you guys have a good night.
You
You
too.
too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.